Sciences. So please, just tell me who is present, who is absent. Rajshri Vaishnava, Jaimanna, HR, Gangadhar Murthy, SS, Kochelra Kota R Murthy. All are from education, na? Am I right? Vure Gurunanda Rao, Rekha Sharma, वो तो उधर है. Payal Thauri. Then we have invited a speaker from here only, Maya Gupta, Sujata, and Abhay Kumar Srivastava, yeah, Rashmi Tyagi, Munni Narayanappa and Manoj Kumar, Shraddha Mihir Chandra and RPS Singh. So we have as symposium speaker, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will request when madam will come, then I'll club all this. Madam को बुलाना उनको. Just call the Samundra madam. Waiting for somebody. हाँ, मैं ये बोल रहा था ना, वो अभी देखते हैं आपका, देखते हैं हम वहाँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, आ रहे हैं, बैठिए उधर आ रहे हैं. कोई बात नहीं, कोई क्या दिक्कत है, उनको बोल दीजिए, कर देंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. मैडम इधर आइए. There are only 4 till now. There are 1, 2. There are 2 symposium speaker, and 1, 2, 3, 7 invited. So total is 7. So I'll request you when madam will come, tell her to finish in one go. Club the symposium and invite it together. Okay? That's all. And start, madam. देर हो रहा है यहाँ पे. Do it.
Sir, उनका number वगैरह है आपके पास?
मैंने I don't know. I don't have any number. So others are from which department? Those who are sitting here as an audience or from education? Department of Education. Yeah, ठीक. Okay. I think they are waiting for chairperson. Yeah. No. I am sectional president. I am Professor Manoj Kumar Singh, sectional president, Anthropological and Behavioural Sciences. I am running here, and there. I have to go to Archeology department. So this is. I have started all the session, but this is late because of the chairperson is coming. Still, we are waiting for some Mittal madam. We must have know. I don't know about. So just wait. Pankaj Mittal and Dr. R.E. Renu. Huh? B.A.Y. Baskar. She is the member of ISKA?
Yes.
Okay. Faculty member here?
Yes, sir. She is in my department. I am Professor Rashtrasant Department of Education.
आपका नाम था, आपने चेयर करने से मना कर दिया.
हाँ सर.
इसलिए इतना गड़बड़ हो रहा.
नहीं तो हम कर सकते थे, लेकिन हमारा खुद का सिंपोजियम था तो इसलिए.
नहीं, अभी हमें एजुकेशन में अभी भी देखिए खाली है, हमें दिक्कत हो रही है.
आ जाएंगे सर.
एजुकेशन में चेयरपर्सन को चेयर एंड किसी को रिपोर्टर बनाइए.
किसी और को भी बोल सकते थे, लेकिन उनका ऐसा कहना है कि एजुकेशन का ही पर्सन चाहिए.
हाँ तो मैं एजुकेशन वाली हूँ, मैडम इज आल्सो फ्रॉम एजुकेशन.
क्योंकि 2:30 बज रहा है.
ये ना ऑलरेडी मेरे को फिर क्योंकि मुझे
पता है सब परफॉर्म भी किया है कि नहीं किया है, कौन सा किसके पास
चलिए
Now I request Dr. Rekha Madam, please conduct the session and introduce the chief guest and chair or co-chair. Co-chair बनाया था अभी ना, अच्छा. So today the session will be chaired by Dr. Pankaj Mittal and our co-chair is Dr. Renu. So please, madam, Rekha madam, please come and invite the chair and co-chair person.
Good afternoon, one and all. At the outset, I request Dr. Mittal Madam to please come on the dais. I also request Dr. Renu Madam, the co-chair of this session. I'll now introduce the chairperson of this session. Let me first thank her profusely for accepting for chairing this session. Thank you so much, madam. Dr. Pankaj Mittal, madam, she is a well-known faculty in the field of fraternity, education fraternity. She is Secretary General of the Association of Indian Universities, and she is the second Women Secretary General of Association in the 97 years of existence. Prior to joining AIU, she has been serving the higher education sector, especially university education, for more than 3 decades at the apex regulator of higher education, the University Grants Commission of India. Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal is a Fulbright scholar and has been a topper in MSc and PhD in agriculture statistics from IARI, New Delhi. She has a wide-ranging experience of more than 3 decades in higher education, in policy planning and management of higher education. She is also Chief Commissioner Guides of Bharat Scouts and Guides. Dr. Mittal earlier served as the first regular Vice Chancellor of Bhagat Phul Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Kanpur, the first rural women university of North India in 2008 at young age of 44 years to undertake and developing a tiny Gurukul into an institution of repute. Dr. Mittal introduced a series of innovative practices and reforms as the Vice Chancellor of the only rural residential multi-faculty women state university of the country, imparting education to 7,000 girls from KG till PhD level in the holistic manner. During her stint as Vice Chancellor, Dr. Mittal transformed the Gurukul into a university which is now on the international map. Her contribution in institution building, coupled with blending of traditional and modern education, is an exemplary contribution towards promotion of rural women folk in the unique manner. She has visited number of countries like USA, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Mexico, China, and so forth, to name a few, for academic purposes, for presenting papers in international conferences, and for academic exchanges on behalf of UGC, AIU, and the other universities. Dr. Mittal had led a delegation of 15 vice chancellors to UK for academic collaborations. I welcome you, madam, in this session. I request, yes, madam, to please welcome Mittal, madam. Aparna, madam. आपको I request Rajeshri Vaishnav madam to please welcome her. Okay. I request madam to please chair the session. Start the session.
So thank you, Rekha ji, for a very, very generous introduction. I don't know whom I am substituting, but only 15 minutes back I came to know that I have to chair this session. So I was taking lunch at that time, so sorry for the delay and sorry for keeping you waiting. This session is on technology and its inclusive role in redefining education in the changing world. Now, when I read this topic, one episode which came to my mind was something which happened more than 100 years ago. That was with Einstein. So Einstein in 1905, he gave a question paper to his students to solve. And when the teaching assistant of Einstein saw that question paper, he came running back to Einstein. He says, "Sir, something is wrong. Kuch gadbad ho gaya hai." He says, "What happened?" He says, "Sir, something is wrong because this is the same question paper we gave to the same set of students last year also. So there is some mess up. We cannot be giving the same question paper." So Einstein smiled and he said, "Kuch gadbad nahi hua. There is no mistake. Questions are the same, but the answers are different." Why? Because in 1904, Einstein published 4 papers, which are called the Annals of Physics Education, which was on theory of relativity, Brownian motion, E is equal to mc square and all, which changed the very paradigm of physics education. So therefore, the questions were the same, answers were different because he wanted to see whether his students have really gone through those papers, they have understood those papers. So answers were totally different after those 4 papers were published. Similarly, why I'm telling this story is because in today's time also, we are drawing a parallel from that. Pre-COVID and pre-NEP 2022, pre-NEP 2020, and post-COVID and post-NEP 2020, questions are the same: what to teach, how to assess and evaluate the students, but the answers have totally changed. So similarly, I mean, I'm just drawing parallel from that. Why? Because especially on how to teach. So earlier when COVID came, you know that like I was in Association of Indian Universities and we are looking after more than 900 universities. And all of a sudden all the universities and colleges were closed. And it was looking as if it will become a zero session. But then thanks to all the teachers, I mean, I really salute all the teachers. In no time, they took over the technology and started teaching online. And similarly, the students also started learning online. Till that time, because she was telling me I am from University Grants Commission, and we have been telling the teachers to adopt technology for teaching learning for a long time, but there was a lot of resistance. But in no time, I mean, within 1 or 2 months, I saw every teacher teaching online. I don't know how could they learn overnight, but they started teaching online using the technology. So that is the power of technology. And now that the COVID has gone, well, we hope so. The technology is not going to go away with COVID, it is going to stay. And if you see the national education policy, there also a lot of emphasis has been given to technology in teaching, learning, in assessment and evaluation, in governance of the universities. And without technology, we are feeling that it is very, very difficult to teach, and technology also to the very advanced level. Because when we speak, say, I was also dealing with SWAYAM, which is the India MOOCs platform. Rekha ji has prepared a very good course in SWAYAM, and she has something like 15,000 learners who have already undergone that course. So when SWAYAM also we made, there was a problem because many a times the teachers used to say, how can we teach a camera? I mean, it's very easy to teach a student because you can have a response back. I mean, it's a give and take sort of thing. You say something, you see the response. Camera doesn't give any response. So I saw the best teachers, they were not able to teach online because they were used to teaching in a class where live human beings were there. So this dead dog, this dead thing like camera, it's very difficult to teach. So we had to arrange training sessions for the teachers to prepare e-content so that they know how to face the camera, how to teach online. So similarly, and that SWAYAM came as a very, very big sort of a contributor to our teaching learning, and the University Grants Commission also that said that in the regular programs around 40% of the courses can be done through the SWAYAM platform. So what I want to say is that teaching learning through technology, using technology even for personalized learning. When I say personalized learning, I mean that in a class of say 100, when the teachers are teaching, the level of each student is different. The teacher cannot be teaching according to each student's level. So the teacher thinks of the general level, average level, and the teacher is teaching. So some are greatly benefited, some are not benefited, some don't understand at all. So in personalized learning, which can be done using technology and artificial intelligence, the lessons will go to the student according to his or her understanding, not the same lecture will go to everybody. So like this, there are so many, I mean, because there are many speakers, I don't want to go on speaking on technology, but personalized learning is there, assessment and evaluation. You saw that 3-year examination which we take at the end of the semester, how difficult it was to take it during the COVID. Because offline we could not take because of COVID, and online there were so many issues, starting from the availability of infrastructure till the proctoring of the examination, how to ensure that the students are not cheating. So, but then NEP also says that the 3-year examination is not the best way of assessing and evaluating the student. It has to be a continuous assessment throughout the semester through multiple ways. It could be quizzes, it could be personal interviews, it could be group discussions, it could be projects, it could be activities, it could be so many ways. But then we are not telling the teachers, I mean, we are very coolly telling them use the technology, but we are not teaching them how to use the technology. How to use the technology for teaching learning, how to use the technology for assessment and evaluation, how to use the technology for even research methodology. So we are not teaching that. So one more thing which I would like to share is that at Association of Indian Universities, we have opened 10 centers. So if there are faculty members here who want to know that how they can use the technology for all these things, you can attend the courses there. You will be greatly benefited, starting from how to make a presentation, how to use various features or tools which are available in PowerPoint itself, but we don't know that they are there, to make the presentations more exciting, how to use personalized learning. So many things you will be learning in those courses. So if you want to do that, do visit AIU website, and you will be having many, many courses to choose from. So with that, should I be calling the... So I understand that there are many, many speakers in this session, and we are going to learn a great deal in how to use the technology for teaching learning. So the first speaker I will request to come here is Rashtrasant Vaishnav. Rashtrasant S. Vaishnav, okay, come. She is in the PG Department of Education of the Nagpur University, and she will be talking about NEP 2020 challenges and opportunities for HEIs. Come, please, welcome.
A very good afternoon to one and all. Respected Chair, Madam Pankaj Mittal. We heard a lot about Madam Mittal. So thank you so much, Madam, for chairing this session. And myself, Professor Rashtrasant Vaishnav. I am Head Department of Education, Rashtrasant Tukadoji Maharaj Nagpur University. Today, a responsibility given to me to present before you some of the ideas, though this symposium deals with the education technology and its impact, but I feel that I should discuss before you that we have recently National Education Policy 2020, and how this Education Policy 2020 having a lot of challenges and opportunities for higher education institutions also. Next, please. Ma'am, because we have less number of speakers, and I have given, I'll try to finish it, but I have given a 20 minutes time. So I prepared, yeah, because we have a symposium and then a later on that. So, if you're giving a podium to the teacher, then of course it will take time, yes. So, thank you. First slide, please. First slide, please. Yeah, next, please. So if you look this national education policy, I always find that it is the first policy which shows the synergy in education right from early childhood care education to higher education. Next, please. Today's my presentation will be focusing on what are the NEP, what is its objective, what are its purpose, and then I'll discuss before you the previous policies. Then later on, in a short, I'll try to give you the what is the recommendations of NEP for higher education institutions, and then what are the challenges before the higher education institutions. So let me, because I don't have podium before me, so let me just wait for 5 minutes, please. I'll just check out my PPT with the mobile. Next, please. So this national education policy is envisioned an Indian-centric education, an education which talks about the national pride, which talks about the policy, about this nation. Just a minute, please, because I'm not able to see my PPT. Yeah. So I think you will take the mic. Yeah, that will be better, ma'am, because standing on the podium and doing all these things will be difficult for me. So thank you. So this national education, not working. So this national education policy envisioned an Indian-centric education which transformed the India into a knowledge curve, into a capital which provides all sort of the ethics, values, along with the skill and professional competencies to teachers. Next, please. So if you look at this national education policy, that means to develop creative potential of each individual, that look into cognitive foundational capacities and literacy and numeracy, along with cognitive higher order capacities like critical thinking and problem solving. Then social, ethical and emotional capacities and depositories is also one of the very, very important aspect of this national education policy. Next, please. If you look at the guiding principle of this national education policy, the rich heritage of ancient Indian knowledge and culture is given the major importance in this policy. Then the pursuit of knowledge, gyan, wisdom, and the truth is given the supreme importance, that is the higher goal of. If you look at this national education policy and see the guiding principle, in our ancient system of education, we have the highest realization of self, and knowing the self is the major aspect of this. So this education policy deals on that aspect only, that by giving the all sort of realization of self is the one of the major emphasis and major guiding principle of this policy. Next, please. Then another important objective is to develop good human beings having scientific temper, and it aims to produce energies. I feel so sorry that I'm not able to see my PPT. So instead of going with the PPT, I'll go with a normal way. Okay. That will be it. So now, this national education policy talks about to develop good human being with scientific temper and creative imagination. What does it mean that a person should have a scientific temper along with the creative imagination? Then it aims to produce engaged, productive and contributing citizen for equitable, inclusive and plural society. It also provides quality institution and quality education to all. Next, please. To achieve economic and social mobility, inclusion, equality as one of the as per the local and global needs of the education. To develop self-confidence, self-knowledge, feeling of national pride and its strong ethics of India is another one of the objective of this national education policy. Next, please. If you look at the previous policies, because whenever we go for a new education policy or for a new policy, we should always be remember that where we were, where we are and where we have to go. So if I look at the previous policies, so first policy after post-independence came in India in the year 1949. That was related with the University Education Commission, and the present system of higher education, I can say that universities and this UGCs and all are because of this policy proliferating multifold increase in higher education system is because of this policy. Later on in the 1966, Secondary Education Commission came. The major emphasis of this commission is the improvement in the quality of education as well as the expansion of education system in India. Next, please. Then we have a 1986 policy. That policy was revised in 1992. Then the major emphasis of this policy is in the year 1995, we have started the midday meal scheme. Next, please. So later on in 2001, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan came, and this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has a lot of impact on the primary and school education of our India. Then 2004, as this program is this symposium is related with the education technology. So real use of technology in education is started in the year 2004 when by the launching of the EduSet. Next, please. Then if you look at the previously, the 2001 RT means Right to Education Act came, where it has started with the free and compulsory education to the age group of between 6 to 14. Later on, next please. Then in 2010, this RTA has been linked with all union territories and the state governments also. Then in 2014 and 13 also, National Early Childhood Care Policy. All these are the background of our national education policy only. Next, please. So if you look at the previous policies, the implementation of previous policies were basically focused on the access and equity to higher education. Then the unfinished agenda is really deal in this national education policy. We can call it the major development from the previous policies are related with the right to children for free and compulsory education. So this was it opened the legal underpinning of the system of education. Next, please. Now I'll give you some idea about the higher education system. If you look at the next, please. So if you look at the present system of higher education, we have a fragmented higher education system, poor learning outcome and the development of cognitive skills of a student. Then another problem is rigid, inflexible separation of discipline. Then lack of quality higher education in socio-economical excellence section also, low teacher and student ratio as well as low institutional autonomy, inadequate career management and the preparation for faculty or institutional leaders. Then lack of research funding is another very, very important challenge before the higher education system, present higher education system. Next, please. Then another important aspect is suboptimal governance and leadership in higher education institution, poor regulatory mechanism, that another one of the important factor, and large number of affiliating universities and poor undergraduate performance. These all are the challenges before us as an institution of higher education. Next, please. Then a question comes in my mind, what to do? Then of course the answer is that reform the system of present education and reform the system to meet the challenges. Next, please. So if I talk about the national education policy, this policy divided into different parts. Part 1 deals with the school education, Part 2 deals with the higher education, Part 3 deals with the professional education, adult education, and Part 4 is a very, very important key, how this policy will be implemented. That means it creates a roadmap how to implement this policy. Next, please. So if you look at the higher education system, the quality universities and colleges, then institutional restructuring and consolidation, holistic and multidisciplinary education, optimal learning environment and support for students, then teacher education and reimagination of the vocational education. These all are the certain things which talks about the higher education in national education policy. Then all this, as per the higher education, presently we have a unitary discipline institutions, but now as per the recommendation of NEP 2020, by 2030, all the higher education institution should be converted into multidisciplinary institution. At least one large multidisciplinary institution in every district is also recommended by 2030. To increase presently we are having the 26.3% gross enrollment ratio, that has to be increased by 50%. Then another very important recommendation is we will not have a single stream higher education institution, because if you look at the present scenario, you will find that engineering college, B.Ed college, or other different institutions where the only one single stream institution is there. So now this single stream institution should be phased out within 15 years and it will be converted into multidisciplinary institutions. Then another important aspect, the majority of universities are facing with the affiliated colleges, and because of the large number of affiliating institutions with the universities, the quality dearth is always there in the undergraduate program. So to improve that, we need to have the NEP recommend that within 15 years this affiliating system will be phased out. Next please. So present we have a big engineering institutions, IITs, and all these will be converted. They are giving the education in the only for the engineering. But now, as per the recommendations, this IIT will be converted into a multidisciplinary institutions where the more emphasis will be given on the science, as equal emphasis should be given to the science as well as the arts faculty also. Then opening of various departments like language, literature, all these will be in the higher education institutions. Next please. Next please. Then previous. Another very important change is presently we are having the 3 years graduate program. This 3-year graduate program will be converted into 3 to 4 year degree program, and where if you look at the present system, a child has taken admission in one course and is not able to continue the course further, then he has to drop out, and after that if he want to join, he again has to restart with the first semester. But here we have in this NEP policy, they have the multiple exit option. You can provide a certificate, you can after completion of 1 year or 1 semester, then a diploma. Then we have another thing that after completion of 3 years, you will get degree. And if you complete the 4 year with the special research program, you will get a degree with the special research program. And then directly you can join to the PhD programs also. Next please. So this is one of the change which is recommended by this NEP. Then a very important change is creation of academic bank of credit, that is to digitalize our documents and to digitalize the degrees of the institution. Then another very important that all higher education institutions should adopt continuous and comprehensive evaluation system. Previously we have an end year examination that is not giving the proper results, so it is recommended that all HEI should adopt the continuous and comprehensive evaluation system. Then high performing India should be destination for global development. Then every university must have office for international affairs so that foreign students or the students from other universities can join Indian universities. Then another very important aspect which is deal with that, the top 100 foreign universities will be able to having their sub-centers in India also. Then high performing Indian universities will be promoted to open their centers in internationally and abroad. So these all are the certain recommendations which is dealing with the higher education. Next please. Then multidisciplinary then one a very important that multidisciplinary education and research university Meru will be created and for the higher education at par with the present IITs and all. Then public and private funding in higher education will be increased. If you look at the present funding in higher education, we have the majority of the government funding, but this NEP suggests that more and more private institutions should be encouraged to have their funding in this. Next please. Then if you look at another very important recommendation is the NEP is the creation of National Research Foundation. This National Research Foundation will be a bridge between the higher education institution and the research and development of the research capacity. If you look at this, to create a robust ecosystem, because the environment is changing, we have this several sustainable development goals, because India is a signatory of the SDG, so we have to fulfill that 17 by 2030 we have to fulfill these SDG goals. So these all are the several goals like climate change, population dynamic, digital marketplace, all these challenges are before us. So to meet that challenges, we need to improve our research capabilities. For that, this National Education Policy has suggested that National Research Foundation, we call it NRF. Next please. What is the use is to make India leading knowledge society? We have to upgrade our research capabilities. Yes ma'am. Sure. Next please. So, next please. Now, there is a multiple change in the governance also. We have a Higher Education Commission of India, which has the 4 verticals like National Higher Education Regulatory Council for regulation, General Education Council for standard setting, Higher Education Council for funding, and National Accreditation Council for accreditation also. Next please. Next please. Previous one please. Then a very, very important aspect is creation of National Education Technology Forum, an autonomous body which will deal with the digitalization of the present system of education. It recommend that all education system, higher education system, in school education system should adopt technology. Then another very, very important that Parak will be created for the national assessment, and it aims to increase public participation. At present, we have 6% of, we have only that 4.6% of proper total GDP on education. That has to be increased up to the 6%. Next, please. So these are the recommendations related with the digital drive, that is to adopt the technology. The new education policy has emphasized to deal with the technology in the all sector of education, right from the school education to higher education. Next please. So I can simply say that access to internet, it means access to education and access to opportunity. Next please. So these all are the recommendations related with the online and digital education, where the training for the teachers to be provided to use the digital platform in a different mode, and as well as to creation of good quality content. Next please. These are the learning plans which you can see very well. Because of the short of time, madam has already given him a point. Next please. Next please. So let us have the opportunity with higher education system. Now as the NEP recommend that no hard separation, that means flexibility in the system, equal promotion of art, science and all, multidisciplinary approach, then another emphasis on conceptual learning, then cultivation of life skills, and another important is the continuous evaluation. These are the various opportunities. Next please. Then creation of academic bank of credit is also one of the very good opportunity for higher education. Then education in mother tongue, that is also one of the very, very important recommendation of NEP, where then vocational training, community engagement is another important aspect which has to be recommended and which has to be implemented in our all higher education institution. And another is the growth of educational opportunities, also is the opportunities. Before ending my session, I just have to certain challenges this NEP throw before us. That is the quality teacher recruitment and their training is another problem. Accountability is another issue. Then inviting private sector fundings, that is also one of the challenge, because you have seen that majority of students are preferring the foreign universities as compared to. So brain drain is another problem. If you invite foreign universities, then our present higher education system will face a challenge that we have to take care of that. Then another increase of GR. Presently we have the GR, that is the less. If you want to increase 26.2%, if you want to increase up to 50%, that means we have to open the new colleges and new centers. Then another is digital infrastructure development, internet and its proliferation is another very important aspect. Then multidisciplinary approach and changing the next place, changing the mindset of the pupil to adopt multidisciplinary approach is another very, very important task. And then another is the challenge before us, the orientation of the people towards the multidisciplinary approach, because we have the rigid mindset, there is a need to orient the people. Then funds allocation, as the NEP suggests that equal allocation of funds to the private and government sector, the fund allocation is another problem. Then student-teacher ratio, if you look at the present system, we have most of the Indian universities are facing the crunch of the teachers. So another, if you implement this policy, we need to focus on that also. Then higher order thinking, changing in the pedagogy, this is another, and funding education 3% to 6%, and I feel that 6% will not be suffice for the higher education. Next please. So let us understand this policy and implement in its true spirit, then only we'll be able to implement this policy, because all these policies basically the making of policy is a different task, but implementing in its true sense is another very important challenge before us. So we as a part of the higher education institution should look in this aspect also. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello. So thank you, Rajshri-ji. You have explained the national education policy in quite a detail and even the policies leading to national education policy. So thank you very much. Now let me invite Dr. H.R. Jayamma. Are you there? Yes. Dr. H.R. Jayamma is from the Department of Education, Bangalore University. And she'll be talking about a study on professional competence of secondary school teachers in relation to their interest in teaching.
I request Dr. Pankaj Mittal madam to please felicitate Dr. Rajeshri Vaishnav madam. Speaker, you are the speaker. She is also Professor in Head Department of Education of Rashtrasant Tukadoji Maharaj Nagpur University and former Dean Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies of Rashtrasant Tukadoji Maharaj Nagpur University. Thank you, madam.
Pantry. Good afternoon, everybody. So, respected professors and dignitaries, I am Professor H.R. Jayamma from Bangalore University, Department of Education, Bangalore. So, my paper is purely empirical studies. It's a completely research studies. So my topic is study of professional competency of secondary school teachers in relation to their interest in teaching. Then what is the concept of this studies is, especially for our educational system and educational policies, education is one of the highest role in our society. Naturally, we give the highest respect and highest honor in our society. It's ancient period onwards to today's situation is also having some own respect, honor, and some level of the highest dignitary profession in our society. Naturally, our professionals, our competency, our efficiency, and our hard work, our ethics and morality and everything is also included in our profession. Naturally, society is also expecting more from the teachers compared to other professions. This is the systems. Naturally, identification of this system is why competency is more essential. So according to this, education plays an essential role in all-round development of child and society. Teachers are the most important asset of any educational systems. This is one of the general concepts. Then what about the Kotaris in early 1966 is also mentioned the quality education, competency and character of teachers are undoubtedly the most significant factor for the teaching professions. Especially for the new pass, especially 2020, the two exhorts teachers truly shape the future of our children. In this rapid growing era of technology and communications, teachers are required to improve the competency because of quality of education largely determined by the professional competency of teachers. It is a big challenge for the teachers to order to meet the challenge. Teachers need to have the competency. This is the present scenario of the teachers' status and teachers' positions. Then competency defined terms of knowledge, skills, ability of teachers in teaching, self-regulations, socio-cultural and communication and organizations leadership. Then competency is the essential factor for the success for any professions. Today's world is very competitive world automatically, and the teacher's role is also significant in this world scenario. Then what are the objectives? Next, what is the objectives of our studies or our research work is? First, to study the relationship between the professional competency and the interest in teaching of secondary school teachers. Then nowadays, teaching profession or teacher educators is the second and third option or last options. You know very well. So almost after completion of the degree, majority of the students joining teacher education is the last priority. I don't know all over India, but in Karnataka, it's a last priority. So, because of these reasons, the importance and the level of the, some level, is time up? So this naturally, according to me, so interest is also more important for the profession. So how to identify the interest? Interest nowadays in Karnataka or maybe South India. So I visited so many colleges for the NCT or NCT, and I know the practical or personal opinion about the teacher education is this is the last priority. This is last priority means first give to some other profession, later without any, inevitably to join as a B.Ed or M.Ed. This is the scenario of the importance of teacher education. Why interest is not at all very much not expected level in our present situations. Naturally, to identification of the interest and competency. So competency and interest is also parallel. So because of these reasons, to identify the objectives of the competency and interest is to study the relationship between the professional competency and the interest in the teaching of secondary school teachers. First to teach us the important, our interest is also, even so many people or so many students first examine these students, especially in the degree college students, to give the opinion for the administrative profession or some other profession, even clerical profession. Not priority go to teaching profession. This is the scenario. Because of these reasons, the integrated courses is more appropriate, more essential, and more suitable in this scenario. That is also one of the solid and complete degrees are very essential for the teacher education. First objective. To second objective, to examine the influence of sex and marital status of the professional competency of secondary teachers. Then what about the examine, why the examine of the influence of sex? Sex is especially in our profession, teacher education, even earlier, before Independence Day, even after Independence Day, teaching profession is only meant for females. This is the one of the assumption, one of the hypothetical concept. But nowadays, male percentage is also increases. So many reasons. So earlier days, the teaching profession is only meant for the female. That is a declared matter. But why the males is also included in these professions? This is also one of the questions. Then what about the marital status? Then to examine the marital status of the professional competency of secondary teachers. Marital status, married and unmarried. So married are having high competency, high interest, or unmarried are having the high competency and the interest. This is the to identify the concept or differences or relationship is also there. Then what about that? To assess the effect of professional levels of interest in teaching and the professional competency of secondary teachers. This is also one of the levels to identify the levels: low level, higher level, and average level. These are all the three levels are to identification of the low level, how many teachers are expecting, high level teachers are high interest, how many people are low interest and automatically low competition. These are all the, then what about the hypothesis of the statement of the hypothesis? There is no significant relationship between the professional competency and the interest in teaching of secondary school teachers. This is the one of the, it's completely null form and null hypothesis. There is no significant differences in the professional competency of secondary school teachers with regard to their sex, and there is no significant differences with the professional competency of secondary school teachers with regard to the marital status. Then there is no significant differences in the professional competency of secondary school teachers working with the different levels of interest in teaching. This is the one of the hypothetical. This are all null form. Then what about the methodology we are applying in this articles is, we identify the 100 teachers, secondary school teachers, to identify the sample in this research work, especially in the Bangalore district. I selected the simple random technique we applied. The professional competency scale and interested scale is also developed by myself and my students. And another one is the present products as a correlation is also applicable for the analysis to identify the hypothesis statements. Then what about the analysis of data and the results? Then especially in the results of pertaining the correlation analysis of pertaining the dependent variable is the competency, then independent variable is the interest. So competency is the competency and interest is also one of the highest relationship. Is maybe a negative relation or maybe a positive relations. But according to my research, it should be a 0.372. It's one of the significant factors for 0.01 level. So naturally, from the table 1 is obtained, 0.372 is the greater than is the, automatically there is no significant relationship between the professional competency and the interest of teaching in secondary school teachers. The selected variables have positive relationship. Positive relationship is also, we identify the statistical treatment. According to these factors, a high competency, high interest, automatically competency level is also very high. Because of this reason, positive relationship is also there. Then what about the negative concerns? Automatically less lead interest, so less competitive persons. These are all the negative concept of the negative relationship between the two variables. This is because of this two concept to identify the positive relationship between the two variables. Then another concept is professional competency of secondary school teachers due to variation of the sex. Sex is nothing but the male and female. Especially male number is very less. Female is also 75. This is the one type of the identification of the teachers' importance, or teachers selected the schools and profession. This is also having the significant relationship between the two variables. Here, according to these studies or according to statistical treatment obtained, there is a significant differences in the professional competency between the male and female teachers. According to my research, according to my statistical results, the female teachers were found they have more competency than the male, because teachers, their problems, so many, because of this mean variations, mean differences, females teachers are more committed, more interested teachers than the male teachers. This is also one of the empirical concept. Then another one is the professional competency of secondary school teachers due to the variation of the marital status. So married and unmarried. So usually marrieds are very high number. Unmarried strength is very, because of our sample is simple random technique, not a purposive sample. You should be unmarried. So according to this, there is no significant, this analysis, there is no significant marrieds and unmarrieds, there is no significant, maybe a lapses of n and other numbers. Automatically there is no differences, or there is no gap between the married teachers and the unmarried teachers. Same status is also continue. Then there is no significant difference in the professional competency between the secondary schools married and unmarried teachers. The marital status is not at all affect their professional competency. It's automatically our null hypothesis should be accepted. Then later, the professional competency of secondary level teachers due to variation in the levels of interest in teaching. Then we identify the different three groups is also there: low groups, high groups, then average groups. In between these groups, to identify the significant groups are average and high. So automatically the average and high, low, this is a natural phenomena. Then average teachers and the high professional teachers are having some significant relationship is also there. Because of these reasons, professional competency, there is a significant differences between the professional competency between the teachers having high levels of interest in the teaching of low and average level. This is the, anybody can assume, anybody can hypothetical factors. These are all the four identifiable empirical study for our research. Then what is the findings of this research is, there exists significant positive relationship between the professional competency and the interest in teaching of secondary school teachers. There is a significant differences in the professional competency of male and female teachers. There is no significant in the professional competency of secondary school teachers, married and unmarried. There is significant difference in the professional competency of secondary school teachers working with the different levels of interest in teaching, that is the low, average and high levels of the interest of the teaching. Then what about the conclusions of the research and implications is the interest of teaching is related to it should be a professional competency. Interest is most essential part and part of our professions. Otherwise, competency level is completely not expected. That is the scenario of the studies. That female teachers were found to be have more competency compared to male teachers in their profession. Naturally, so many factors is also influence for the female teachers. I don't know, maybe female teachers are highly committed, or female teachers are having some own responsibilities and own ethical and morality is very strong than the male. So it's not my statement, this is the, according to my research, this is one of the female teachers is highly committed than the male teachers. Because of even males are having so many factors that politics, maybe social, and so many. But female teachers is even females' responsibilities. Female have more roles, personal role and the professional roles. But male is having only one role, that is called as professional role. But females are having two roles. So personal life, that is the highest dedication for the profession. This is one of the time of. Okay, that is also one of the authentic and reality of our professional lives. Then teachers who possess high interest in the teaching have more professional competency. This is a natural concept. In the plain place that what is the school should provide the good teaching atmosphere for the cultivate the interest of teaching among teachers community and thereby the motivating them to higher levels of the professional competency. These are all the especially for the school atmosphere and organization climates, and some system should be encourageable, some system should be not only encourageable, it should be to provide the facilities for maybe infrastructures wise or psychological factors wise or social factors wise, and management, administrators and the systems. Each and every wings and dimension is also responsible for the committed for this profession. This is my authentic and empirical research work for the teaching professions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Jayamma. Very good presentation and a very good empirical study. And it was obvious women are better.
This is the reality of this research.
So that has come out from your research also. So thank you very much.
I request Dr. Mittal Madam to please welcome Dr. Jayamma. Please.
Now may I invite Professor K. Ganga Dharma Murthy. Is absent? Okay. Yes. He is from Karnataka University, Dharwad. Okay. Okay. Somebody with him was Samasagi, SS Samasagi, even she is absent? SS Samasagi. Karnataka University, both are not there. Okay. So now let me invite Professor V.R.S. Murthy, K. V.R.S. Murthy. He is a retired scientist in CSIR, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, Hyderabad. He will be speaking on Bhartiya Prachin Vigyan Shastra, applied research avenues for technologies and with a role to play in education.
Madam, I want at least 20 minutes because I had a lot of stuff when I said next immediately because time is very less. Okay, skip the slides, most of the slides. Madam Chairperson, Co-Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to bring to your kind attention, I'll take back you 5,000 years to 10,000 years back. Prachina Vijnanam was there at that point of time. You see, Vedic literature, where, I have to see like this now. Vedas are being the source of creation to our knowledge. And this knowledge, next please, Vedavyasa is the actual architect for these Vedas. Next please. And Hinduism is one of the oldest but still more scientific and modern, that if we apply for the Vedic culture. Next please. We have 4 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samveda, Atharvana Veda, apart from Mahabharata and Ramayana, all these literature, Puranas. It gives a lot of science. We discuss only in science on Vedas. People are in the sense that Vedas are only the scriptures studied in the temples and in the old age. No, it is the science, pure science. Next please. And lot of Vedas, Rig Veda, we used to have a lot of this one. We lost so many and just we left with very less. And all these things have had the British rule, colonial rule, all that these things have been transferred to other Western countries. Next please. And classification of post-Vedas and Upavedas and Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisesika, all these sciences are there in this and the Vedic script like the Krushi, Vriksha Shastra, Loha Shastra, Rasa Shastra, Yantra Shastra, Vaimani Shastra, Bhugarbha Shastra, Ganita Shastra, all these sciences are in these scripts. Next please. The Vedas are, Abdul Kalam said, Vedic and post-Vedic literature have a tremendous amount of scientific knowledge, which will be extremely beneficial for humanity. For creating a faith in this document, there is a need to establish the dates of creation of Vedas and Upanishads so that they are transformed into historical events. The use of modern technology has facilitated researchers to prove an indigenous origin of civilization in the Indian subcontinent. This is an important factor. We should work on integrator of the entire nation, since all of you have come to this land from the same ancestors' rules. Every Western fellows have used our knowledge by Sanskrit. They have taken the Sanskrit scholars from India and translated and created, got the Nobel Prizes. And I will give, because I have to skip a lot of, Madam has given me very less time, I have to skip a lot of the next please. And Vedas contain knowledge of scientific discoveries, but less of innovations. You see, that is the part now we have to do in the educational system. The innovators are to be created with reference to the Vedic knowledge. Next please. Next. Various sciences in the Indian manuscripts have the beginning from 7000 BCE and continuously developed to 1200 CE examples in the all these Vedas and Vedic mathematics. Ayurveda, Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita and Vaiseshika, Bhaskaracharya, advanced astronomy, Siddhanta, Shiromani, Sriranga Samhita, Rasa Shastra, everything, what not, everything is there. Next please. And next please. Vedanga Jyotisha, Lagada, the author, only book written in 1500 BC, available even today, contains all basics of astronomy or planets. All these things, even NASA is also following some of these rules to create satellites. They're launching the satellites and preparing the satellites. Next please. Ritual Shastra, Sulva Shastras, Gruhya Shastra, Sautra Shastra, Dharma Shastra. Next please. And Indian astronomy and mathematics, geometrical progression, simple and all these things, calculations concerning the internal months data, geographic and trigonometry university. Varamira has explained that solar eclipses is a great detail. Brahmagupta in 670 bringing the existing concept of zero. Next please. And well, these rishis have given all these Vedic Vyasas, Kanvas, Agasthyas, Vishwamitras, Vasishtas, and this one. Next please. And Panini grammar, here I would like to take some time. Panini grammar is an excellent grammar in the Vedic culture, which is in Sanskrit, where if you apply Panini grammar in the computer logics, this 4G, 5G is nowhere. And we can get the artificial intelligence to the highest proportions, and if you apply the Sanskrit Panini grammar. Next please. It has got 400 sutras, and if you analyze these sutras, we will get a lot of determination and information. Next please. Sanskrit brain function. A recent study in the neurophysicist Dr. Fred in the New York Cornell University, USA, confirmed that reading Sanskrit verses have most profound psychological effects in human brain. Understand this. Next, please. Some discoveries in energy, solar energy, electromagnetic waves, all these things are available in the Vedic culture. Next, please. And chemistry, in Rigveda, Yajurveda, lot of phenomenon and water, how it is to be created, all these things are available. Next, please. Chemical process, Charaka and Susruta Samhita. Here also again I would like to say. Where Charaka Susrusha, they have adapted, there was no knowledge of this modern medicine, and they have created even Nadi Shastra. Nadi Shastra, by being the way, this corona can be given a lot of treatment with the corona, not by charging the present hospitals, they're charging lakhs and lakhs. But the Nadi Shastra, Vagbhatiya, has done miracles in those days, and people used to get medicine from Susuta, Charka, and Vagbhatiya. Next, please. Botany, lot of herbs we have, and there were 700 herbs, and all these herbs can be used in the Ayurvedic formulations and preparations for various diseases. Next, please. Geology and meteorology, and we have, next, please. Vedic inventions and weapons will, next, please. Next. Architecture and reference Vimanas. The Bharadwaja Vimana Shastra is there. Lot of Vimanas are there described in Bharadwaja in various slokas. And coming to the ancient architecture, of course there is one more slide. Before that I will tell because the time is not there. You see the architecture of, if you see the South Indian temples, the architecture is a very big architecture where no air conditioning is required. Even if the sun is 50 degrees outside, if you go to the temple, you feel very happy, no air conditioning. So air conditioning, because of the air conditioning and all that, now this global warming is happening, and a lot of efforts have been given to how to reduce this global effort and reduce the temperature and sea levels. So next, please. Vedic medicines, that's what I said. Next. And Sushruta, medical genius, wrote the Sushruta Samhita 3000 BC. There are 900 ligaments in the human body. He also wrote that some parts of the body, there are 4 types of ligaments compared with the modern scientific pairs. Next, please. And at that point of surrogacy was also there, and presently it is adopted mostly. Next, please. Next, yoga. This is one of the things our Prime Minister has given this lot of meditation and yoga. 26th June is the yoga day, and every world is recognized. Please note, every world is, all the countries have recognized that 26th and going for this yoga, and being the health is created with that yoga. Next, please. And it is next yoga event. Various utensils and potteries are also there. Lot of research can be done with this also. Next, please. And crops. Crops are also, here I would like to mention the pesticides. The pesticides are killing the earth, and now it is the form of the organic farming. We are going to the Vedic period. Organic farming, because everybody wants organic, no pesticide food. So this is a lot of efforts can be done, and a lot of research can be done, innovations can be done to create organic farming so that our health will be health people. These are the various types of seeds, etc. Next, please. Exact dates, that is also important as computer and planetary. So what happened in the previous yugas is what we have to learn by software, planetary software, that is more important. So the astronomy will give a lot of help regarding the planetary positions. We can determine Rama's birth date, and all these things have been, we have made some of the books also in this for this type of knowledge. Remote sensing, imaginary hydrology, underwater explosions, sea level explorations, all these things to be innovated, researched with the planetary software system. That is what the aim of it. Next, please. And these next, Nalanda. You see, at that point of time, Takshashila at 700 BC, 10,500 students used to come from all over the globe. Now we are going to America, USA, Australia. No, not necessary, but at that point itself, 10,500 people used to be there in that university, learning all disciplines of not only science, administration, logics, accounts, everything, all disciplines were there in that Takshashila. So where are all those gone? Because unless we revise this Vedic culture, we will not be able to do that. So that what we are recommending, requesting the UGC and the Government of India, Ministry of Education, so that this type of knowledge to be created in the secondary level itself, so that the people will understand what is our culture earlier and how we are behaving, how the modern society, because of the very good technologies, what we get the technology today, with the cell phone and very high level, high focus. We never imagined that at this age of 76, I'll see all these things. But this type of to be lot of pollution and environment. That is another biggest problem. So that is to be controlled with adopting the adopting the various Vedic scripts and cultures. Next, please. You see, Manchester University confirms that Newton stole the laws of motion and gravity theory from Hindus. What more you require? And they have stolen all these things. They itself, even Kannada, laws of motion of gravity, and why do objects move, why do they fall? All these things were there in our Vedic culture. So these are the various type of another 2 minutes. Next. These are the various scripts, the Dhanurveda, Upanishad, Ganit Shastra, Khagola Shastra, Nakshatra Shastra. Next, Rasayana Shastra, physics, cosmology, agriculture, metallurgy, animal engineering, dance and music, Nyaya Shastra, Viduraniti, Jyotisha Shastra, Niti Shastra, administration, and many such scientific and administrative knowledge can be got, re-research to be done, and innovative things to be created to them on our youngsters, so that these things can be adopted for better administration, better health, better knowledge, and better living. And for that, book search is very important. Lot of books are available across the country, where Benares in the university, we have a traditional knowledge in CSR, Council of Scientific Industrial Research, New Delhi. And the traditional, they are monitoring all these areas of functioning and preserving all these type of books and projects and all these things. Next, please. And similarly, in all these physical sciences, next. These are the, I don't want to read all these things. These are the, for your sample, I have given some of the scripts from the Vedic culture of Rigveda, Yajurveda, etc., Krishna Yajurveda. Next. So these are the various, I will not go detailed because another 30-40 slides are there. These are explained, what are the books available on this, that I will skip now because there is no time. And in all the areas what I explained, lot of various books are available, and this is to be created, and these books are to be implemented for the secondary education and graduate level education, and create thousands of PhDs on these subjects, so that we will have better health, better environment, better life for the coming generations. That are what I would like to propose here. Thank you, madam, for your giving me the time.
Thank you, Dr. Murthy. Very, very well explained, and I think your presentation is very rich. If you can share it with others, it will be very good for all. Thank you.
I request Dr. Chairman Madam to please welcome Murthy sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Murthy. Now we may invite Professor Rao, Gure Gurunodha Rao. Is he there? Okay. So now let me invite Professor Rekha Sharma. Rekha ji, she has. First two speakers, I think they forgot to click the photograph.
Nice opportunity to get it again. लीजिए ma'am. देखो अभी नहीं खुला ma'am.
Rekha is from UGC HRDC, Center of Nagpur University, and she will be talking about centric Swayam,
Learner-centric.
Swayam massive open online courses in higher.
Thank you so much, madam. And the topic which I will be speaking is very near to your heart. And you have been the mentor for this, since I have prepared one of the lectures for Swayam MOOC. Next, please.
Not one of the lectures, one of the courses.
One of the courses, yes. Yes. The topics which I'll be dealing with are, first is pedagogical approaches, then learner-centric approach, then massive open online courses, then learner-centric MOOC model, and finally Swayam, study webs of active learning for young and aspiring minds. Next, please. So let me start with the pedagogical approaches. Next, please. We know that there are three pedagogical approaches. One is behaviorism, where learning is teacher-centered and use of direct instruction and lecture-based lessons are there. Second is constructivism, where people learn through experiences and reflection. And third is social constructivism, where a blend of two priorities, that is teacher-guided and student-centered approaches are there. Next, please. Now, let me also tell you about teacher and student-centric learning approach. In the first image, you can find that the teacher is with her knowledge and experience is teaching to the students. And in the second, with the teacher is teaching, but the experience, beliefs and knowledge of the students or the learner is also collaborating with the learning process. Next, please. So teacher-centered learning is next. Teacher plays important role in learning process. Teachers are information providers or evaluated to monitor students to get the right answers, yet students are viewed as learners who passively receive information. And student-centered learning is students' activities are important indicators in learning process and quality of learning product. Next, please. Now, let us come down to learner-centered approach in e-learning. Next, please. A learner-centered approach is one where the complete e-learning experience is focused on the learners. Next, please. For example, the course needs to be very user-friendly so that learners can navigate the course without any difficulty. They should be able to easily access the content of their choice and skip the sections they are not interested in. Then likewise, learners should find the courses relevant to their challenges and learning needs. And the course should include real-life examples that learners can relate to. Next, please. Now, this we all know, there is a four-quadrant approach of e-learning system. Next, please. The first quadrant is next, quadrant 1, which is e-tutorial, which contains video and audio content in an organized form. Next, please. Quadrant 2 is e-content, which includes lectures of video lectures. Next, please. Third quadrant is discussion forum. which is meant for discussion of doubts, opinions and comments with course coordinators and others. And quadrant 4 is self-assessment, which includes questions like multiple choice questions, problems, quizzes related to that particular module. Next please. Then what are the advantages of a learner-centered approach in e-learning? Next please. It improves participation, it improves retention of knowledge, it boosts performance at work, it develops problem-solving skills, it fosters collaborative learning, it makes learning more fun, and facilitates personalized learning. Next please. Now let us come down to what is MOOCs, Massive Open Online Course. So massive open online courses, next please. Massive is when the enrollment number is massive. Then open is there is no mandatory qualification or it is open to all. Then online, it is fully online and need internet connectivity. Then courses are structured, that is of formal learning or curriculum based. Next please. Now these online courses they are aimed at unlimited participation and open access via the web. Next please. Now the term massive open online courses was coined by Dave Cormier and Brian Alexander, and it is a category of online course where the participants are distributed and the course material is also dispersed across the web. Next please. Now, let us now see what are the results of pedagogical limitations in MOOC. Now since MOOCs are all online courses, now there are certain limitations. The first limitation is the passive role of the learner. Second is lack of learner connect and engagement. Third is limited interactivity with course content and peers. And lastly, all of these result in low completion rates. Next please. Now there is a model which has been developed for learner-centric MOOC, and that model is known as learner-centric MOOC model. Next please. Next please. So this learner-centric MOOC model, it collates and translates all integral pedagogical elements of MOOC into a learner-centric dimension. Next please. And it promotes active learner participation. It enhances engagement with learning content and peers through fostered interactions. Now this is the one which I am talking about. This is known as learner-centric MOOC model. Now the right corner, top corner is LED. Now the meaning of LED is learner dialogue, and it has contents plus reflection spot. This I'll be discussing in the next slides. Second part of this MOOC model is known as LBD, that is learning by doing, and this includes activities and customized feedback. Third quarter is LXT, that is learning extension trajectories, and it includes resources plus assimilation quiz. And fourth is LXI, or learner experience interaction. This includes focus question for discussion plus peer interaction plus reflection quiz. Next please. Now the very first is learning dialogue. Now here all videos are uploaded, videos are given with the reflection spot. Now I would like to show you a video of this reflection spot. Please run this web link. So reflection spot is like if I have developed a video of 5 to 6 minutes. Now in that video, there is a problem. Okay, leave it. Go to PowerPoint presentation. Doesn't matter. नहीं आप बाहर पीछे रखिए. Take back. एक back. अच्छा आगे. Now as I said, I wanted to show you a video of wherein a resource person is making a video. Now in between the lecture, the teacher asks a learner a question, a small question. Okay, tell me about this. What is this? And the teacher pauses for some time, asks a student to write down the answer in the copy, and then again asks after some time to continue the video. So these are known as reflection spots. These are known as reflection spots. Next, please. Doesn't matter. Please start with the PPT. Next. Now, second is learning by doing. Now here, the activities and customized feedbacks are given. Now the meaning of constructive and customized feedbacks are, this also I wanted to show you. Just below the videos, few questions are given. Now these questions are said to be having constructive and customized feedback. Now these questions do not have scores, they are not graded, they are ungraded questions. But after clicking the answer, the student should come to know whether the answer given by the student is correct or not. If it is correct, why it is correct. If it is wrong, why it is wrong. So that is known as constructive and customized feedback. Next please. Now third is learning extension trajectories. Now meaning of this is here we give all resources and assimilation quiz. Now the meaning of resources is we have to give all videos, then e-texts, then we can also give assimilation quiz. Now the meaning of assimilation quiz is you can ask the participant to say at 2.3 second, 2.3 minute, what did I say? What did I talk about? So the student will again go back to the video and will see, and that is known as assimilation quiz. Next please. Now next is learner experience interaction. Now here focus questions for discussion, peer interaction and reflection quiz are given. Now the meaning of this is since the students are not sitting before the learner teacher, that is this is a virtual learning. Now here what a teacher does, she or he gives few questions in the discussion forum which is open to all the students, and students can give reply. That reply can be seen by all the learners. So the interaction will be between the peer groups and between the teacher also. So that is known as focus question for discussion. Next please. Now let me come down to SWAYAM now. SWAYAM, as we all know, the full form is Study Webs of Active Learning for Young and Aspiring Minds. Next please. These are 9 different national MOOC coordinators. Next please. Now this is a consolidated table wherein I have shown the name of the national MOOC coordinator, partnering institute, completed courses, student enrollment, exam registration and successful certification. You can see the NPTEL, they have the maximum number of successful certification and exam registration as well as student enrollment, because it has started its lectures in 2003 itself. Next please. These are all the same data I have given here for CEC, Consortium for Educational Communication. Next please. For IGNOU. Next please. For IIM Bangalore. Next please. NCERT. See, there are no exam registration and successful certification because only the videos are open for them. Next please. Again, this is NITTTR, that is National Institute of Technical Teacher Training and Research. This is in Chennai. Next please. And National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, that is NPTEL. Next please. And University Grants Commission. I am very happy to say, and Dr. Pankaj Mittal madam is also here, and she is the main force behind this. UGC में जो भी स्वयं के courses थे, she only initiated it, and she was head of this e-learning portal and everything. Then Swayam MOOCs. Here I have given the example of my own course, which has been launched through Swayam portal, and this is the 8th time I am launching my program, which has started from 2nd of January. Next please. Next please, this is my flyer, and about 11,845 learners have been, they have enrolled. Now the figure will increase. Next please. Next please. So from 74 countries I have learners, 74 countries excluding India. Next please. And enrollment for examination, it is said that if your enrollment for examination is more than 20%, then your course is more than successful. So for some period I had 26.1% enrollment for examination. Previously it was said that if 100 students enroll for the course, hardly 3% used to reach till certification. But now due to this LCM model, we could achieve the number more than 20%. Next please. Then age-wise distribution, I could see that the majority of the learners were from 20 to 30 years of age group. Next please. Then types of learners, majority were students in my course. Next please. Then discipline-wise, if I'll tell you, basically my course is related to food and nutrition and home science, but majority of my learners were from food technology,
Biotechnology and BSc Medical and Life Sciences. Next, please. This is the certification which we used to get. Next, please. And these are the references. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for patient listening. Thank you so much, madam.
Very nice, Rekha ji. Very, very interesting presentation. You made it very well. I'm sure everybody must have enjoyed. So now the next speaker is Payal. Payal Theory. So she is from the postgraduate teaching department of law, Nagpur University. She'll be speaking about the role of higher education institutions towards ensuring safe cyber behavior of students in India.
Okay, a very good noon to all of you. Respected chair, co-chair, distinguished professors, and dear participant. At the outset, I would like to mention that I'll be very, very crisp. And though I am a legal person, I will talk here only from a very generalized perspective. But yes, if you have any queries legal related to this topic, I'll be very happy to answer. The topic for today's presentation, which I have chosen, is the role of higher education institute towards ensuring safe cyber behavior of students in India. I would like to mention here that every time I will be using the word cyber safety and I am not using the word cyber security. The only difference here is when I talk about cyber safety, it is your behavioral pattern, cyber safety behavioral pattern, which we need to look up to. And when we talk of cyber security, it is the state's responsibility and responsibility of the state agencies to provide you the security. So today's discussion is completely focusing on how we have to train ourselves through educational institutions so that we will be having a safe cyber hygiene and a safe cyber environment. In the introduction, next slide please. When I talk about safety, how we can give safety when a system is there which is having a switch off or a plug-in system or something which is buried in a very concretized bunker or something which is surrounded by a severe nerve gas or something like that. But still, there is no guarantee that this is going to be the safest thing. The reason behind this is that safety is completely personal, that how we are going to engross it or indulge it within ourselves, and that is why, because it is related to cyber world, we need to be very, very safe. So next slide. Today's discussion, I am going to classify it into 4 sections. The first thing, I am talking about cyber behavior. Second, what is cyber safety? Third, need for cyber safety. And number 4 is how the educational institute can ensure the cyber safety. Now, what is cyber behavior? Basically, cyber behavior is an individual's action, reaction, mannerism, and general conduct in the cyber domain. Now, I want to tell you here that because the word cyber is attached, every time we focus on the functionality aspect of it. Functionality means we focus only on the procedural part. Whereas, I would like to tell you here that when we talk of cyber behavior, it is both internal as well as external. It is both how we are behaving at home and how we are behaving at the institution. At the same time, how you are behaving as a son or daughter and how you are behaving as a student or a teacher. So every time, according to the nature of your work, you need to have the cyber safety atmosphere. And that is why all the aspects of cyber behavior needs to be taken into consideration. The problem of my study is, next slide, these are the statistics which I want to quote. This has been taken from the National Crime Bureau, and it has shown that more than 52,000, rather almost 53,000 cases of cybercrime has been registered, and it is needless to mention that 90% of the cybercrime has occurred against students and women. And ladies and gentlemen, these are just the registered figure. Unregistered data is multiplied by 10, because we in Indian society, we don't feel safe to go to police station. Rather, that's the agony of the time. So this is the database which shows that, you know, this problem is very, very crucial and we need to address. Now, what is the cyber behavior and where we can find the breach? As I have said, that we need to really look up towards the cyber hygienes, or I can say that the time is very near when we have to give our children cyber sanskar, that this is how you have to log in and this is how you have to log out. You know, cyber sanskar is going to be part of a family routine very soon. So if we don't follow the cyber hygienes or, you know, the cyber awareness assurance or the cyber security assurance behavior, then certainly you can see the diagram which we have, which has been propounded by Tulani Machine and Emeril Kidzan, you know, wherein they have said that the dangerous, you know, tinkering or misuse of technical resources or security risk behaviors or security complaint behaviors or carelessness or naive mistakes, these things are going to happen, and these things are the triggering point for occurring of a cyber crime. See, every time cyber crime is not that somebody is doing it to you. Sometimes you yourself submit or surrender for the happening of that crime, and it may be intentional or unintentional. So there are certain cyber threats, you know, which are occurring because of the impulsive cyber behavior breach, and particularly the measure of it is next is the depression. Now, depression is one thing, and particularly after pandemic, as madam has rightly said, that from the traditional mode of teaching, we all shifted to online teaching and students have shifted to online learning, and that was one of the major causes which has seen that lot of fatigue and depression has occurred to many students. So depression, committing suicide, because you are open, you know, this concept of avatarism, you know, and that we have identified. Now, many of you must be logged into Facebook right now. So your digital appearance is also alive and you are also alive here. So you don't know what is happening to your digital behaviors, you know, because your existence is very much noticed and, you know, implanted in the cyber world. So you may face lot of cyber threats, because of which there may be a chance that you might have, a person might have a feeling of committing suicide because of, you know, lot of trolling and many things which occurs. And then there are multiple level of cyber crime. Certainly I'm not going to discuss that. And cyber frauds, these are the few things which a student can face if he does not have a proper cyber hygiene and a proper cyber behavior. So what to do? You know, the very first answer is, let us ask for cyber security. And as I have already told, cyber security is something which the state, means the government and the governmental agencies are going to provide. So that is not our part of discussion, because that is something which is very legal. As I have said, I am not focusing on that. I want to focus on cyber safety. So what is cyber safety here? When I say about cyber safety, number one is, it is the safe and responsible use of information and communication technology. 90% of the students, particularly in schools and colleges, they don't use responsibly the information or whatever cyber platforms they are getting. Second is, provide the knowledge and skill needed for safe, needed to be safe in online environments. Again, very sorry to say that many of us are completely unskilled when it comes to our being a netizen. So, you know, jitne hum, the more we are careful for being as a citizen, you know, normal citizen, for voting and other part, the same level of, you know, unskillfulness is there when it comes to cyber world. And number three, you know, when I talk about cyber safety, it is the acknowledging the benefits and opportunities offered by the online world while understanding the risk and avoiding the potential harm. Now, I think this is where these online courses, what the chairperson madam was already propounding, that there are number of courses which as a teacher and of course as a student we all should get, so that we should know how and in what manner the safety and risk factors have been assigned. So what basically the educational institutes are required to do. Now, educational institutes are part of society. Education institute, whether it is a university, it is a college, it is a department, or any form of organization which is there, they are the stakeholders of the society. And every decision or every person who is part of this society needs to fulfill their own responsibility, and the same set of responsibility has been assigned to educational institute also. The new education policy, which we all were discussing few minutes earlier, even that new educational policy in part 2, as madam has already mentioned, that technology has been accepted, and now the new education policy itself says that we want to move further with blended learning. So technology is not going to go, and that is why it is the right time, or rather it is the high time, when we should try to imbibe the cyber behaviors within ourselves, so that we should not fall prey to any of such practices. Now particularly, as I have said, if you look up to the new education policy, particularly clause 23, 23.7 and 23.8, there they themselves are talking about both disruptive technologies as well as artificial intelligence. Now why disruptive technologies? Because they know that when invention takes place, not necessarily that every time that invention is going to help the society. Sometimes, for example, nuclear bombs or something like that, they are going to be there. Similarly, if we have software developers, we also have hackers, so we cannot ignore the possibility, and that is why such things needs to be taken into consideration, that the educational institute must consider that this is going to be there, and they must stop the use of such type of disruptive technologies as well as misuse of artificial intelligence. Use of artificial intelligence is always there, but misuse of artificial intelligence is certainly which we need to take. And then of course formation of National Education Technological Forum, that has been proposed by the new educational policy, but in my suggestion I will certainly would like to propose that how this technological forum can be executed at the institutional level. Next, when we talk of cyber safety at the educational institute, particularly we have to see that we have to provide a customized security provisions. Why? Because if we classify the educational institute, there are again 4 stakeholders. Number 1, society at large. Number 2, teachers. Number 3, research scholar. And number 4, students. And each one of them required a different set of cyber security norms, which the education institute must take. And then of course, while providing such customized protection, they must see to it that the blended learning norms or NEP or whatever the governmental provisions and procedures are there, that should be followed. So why or in what manner the cyber safety needs to be done? Number 1, of course, cybercrime, and again I am telling you, I am not going into the detail because there is a whole set of law which is there which takes care of cybercrime, IPC, IT Act, and multiple laws are there. Number 2, open access to digital content and plagiarism. Now this is one thing which all the educational institute must take cognizance of, because whatever content which we are creating, that is going to be in the open platform, which is there for the benefit of the student. But again, the history says that the more we are open to the society, the more consequences we are going to face. So we must be ready for those consequences, and this should not affect the learning process at any cost. And number 3, data protection. Now this is one such thing which particularly the students and teachers at the higher educational institute must take care of, because all your data is going to be there online, whether it is related to your academics, whether related to your examination, your professional career, everything, all your personal, professional and private data is going to be online. And there are still date we don't have personal data protection law in India, so you can imagine how unsafe we all are sitting in this particular room. Number 4, disruptive technologies and misuse of AI, which I have already mentioned, that these type of inventions and innovations are going to come, and we have to see that at no point of time the student or the child or the person who is working in the education institute is going to suffer because of such disruptive technologies and artificial intelligence. So why it is necessary for students? That the points are very clear. When it comes to students, as you all will agree with me, because you all, like all the students, they spend more time on internet, and they are more prone to interact with the strangers. And in those 52,974 crimes, as I have mentioned earlier, last year registered crime, most of the crimes are related with cyber frauds, wherein student themselves has been victimized because of their interaction with strangers, particularly on Instagram or any other portal, social media portal which is there. So that needs to be taken into consideration. Online multiple game players and in-game purchases. This is again a very common behavior within the student, that they all are online for that. Social media depression. I am not going for a vacation. I am not going to have a good party dress or something like that. And my friends are posting those messages on on social media. That is going to give me a depression, anxiety, and psychological distress. And of course, cyberbullying and cyber defamation. I am very sorry here to say that whatever cyber suicide so far has happened, 90% of them has occurred due to cyberbullying. This just a live case of Bangalore. Last year it has happened. There was a breakup, and after the breakup, the boy just wrote on social media that I dumped my girl. And after reading that message, the girl committed suicide, that the boyfriend has dumped her. So this is something which is happening with the students. And then, of course, they are unaware about cybercrime, that they don't know that whatever is happening with them is a part of cybercrime. And then, of course, huge dissemination of information. Most of the students, whenever they go out, they just immediately update their Facebook status and Instagram and whatnot, that I am not in town, I am in this restaurant and sitting with this and that. So lot of dissemination of information is there, which is unnecessary. So students needs to be protected from all those, particularly the teachers and research scholar. Next slide. Use of unsecure sites and networks by the teachers. Many a time teachers are unaware that they are using some sites which are within 2 minutes. I'm going to wind up, ma'am. And then unauthorized software. And then, of course, ignorance towards data theft and data protection. Teachers needs to be very careful about that, because their complete academic data, including their research papers, are online. Then copyright infringement. 90% of the teachers are completely unaware about what sort of copyright they are going to have, and they are happy, even if they are not getting any protection about that. And then ignorance towards warning and cybercrimes. Now, these are the areas in which a teacher and a research scholar needs to be protected. So how the Education Institute is going to provide safety? Number one is use of secure internet. IP access login has to be there. Unfortunately, in my university, RTMNU also, we don't have login ID access. Now, this has to be there, because you are inviting others also to your secure domain. Number two, have institutional cyber safety guidelines. Unfortunately, 90% of the universities across India does not have these type of guidelines. Invest in data security. Probably this is the least preference thing which any educational institute will work on. And then follow cyber ethic and cyber standards. We have to now at least start rebuilding what are the cyber ethics and standards we need to follow. Cyber awareness. That is something which we all have started by conducting many seminars and presentation, and encouraged to learn about cyber security. Now, this is where we all need to work towards, both teachers and students. So how we can do that? Last slide. Number one thing which I propose here, and I've been part of few colleges as their advisor, and they have started with this initiative that we must have a cyber cell at every institute, whether it is a department or a university, just like the IPR cell, which now the government of India has proposed to have. In similar manner, cyber cell has to be there in every institute, which is going to provide 24/7 security information and security related aspects to each and every person associated with that university. Then report any unauthorized or unwanted activity. Now, first of all, we all need to know that this is something which is unauthorized, and once we know that, probably we will be reporting it. So that thing we need to start. Mandatorily, cyber awareness week or day has to be there in every premises, every institute, every college or every university, display cyber police station numbers and helpline. Now, this is one thing which you won't find anywhere in this premises, because no university provides that, because we hardly care that cyber security needs to be given, cyber safety needs to be given priority. And then, of course, cyber security education at early level. Government has taken many initiatives, but unfortunately, we are not aware about it. So at the beginning, just like the induction program, what we are taking at the university level, so in that induction program, one part has to be there for providing them cyber security guidelines, exclusive training to the teachers that how a cyber safe environment can be created. They know how to use technology, but they don't know how to safely use that technology. And lastly, implement a user-friendly multi-factor authentic MFA tool, which can be given with the help of login ID, password, or IP address access. So if an institute does start working on this, probably we can have a better cyber safe environment wherein we all can have a good teaching learning experience. Otherwise, right now it is okay, but 10 years later it will be very, very difficult for all of us to be online and to give our content in the open domain. So what the take for today is act smartly, wherein stay safe, don't meet up, avoid unknown people, accept only reliable requests, and speak up. Tell someone whatever thing which is happening to you online, which you feel that it is not happening in a good form, please speak up and tell. So these are the two books which last slide, which I want to tell. But this has been started, this initiative has been started by NCRT for student till 12th. In the same manner, just like UGC come up with multiple things, UGC should also come up with one cyber safety manual for educational institutes, particularly, as I have said, in a customized form, teachers, research scholars, students, and that manual should be given in the prospectus to each and every student, so that they should know before entering that I have to come with a cyber hygiene, so that my institute is safe. So with this, thank you so much. If you have any queries, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Payal. Very, very informative.
Thank you.
Very nice lecture.
Thank you.
And with this, we come to the end of the first symposium. We had 5 speakers, starting from NEP to professional competency, to Swayam, to Bhartiyata, and now to cyber safety. So a very good session. All the speakers spoke very well. And I am sure all of you are greatly enriched by the talks given by all the 5 speakers. So thank you very much. Thanks to all the speakers, and thanks to all the audience for listening. Thank you.
I request Mittal Madam to please felicitate Dr. Payal Thaure Madam. Thank you so much. And I request Madam to please continue your chairmanship, Madam, again for the next session, because we have very few speakers in the next session.
So the next session is invited lectures in education. So we have very good speakers who have been specially invited to give lectures. So I will straight away, I know that we are already running late, so I'll straight away start with the first speaker, who is Maya Gupta. She is from Department of Education, Jadavpur University, and she'll be speaking on contribution of women in Atmanirbhar Bharat issues and solutions.
संध्या, आप सभी को मेरा सादर नमस्कार। मैम, चेयरपर्सन मैम एंड को चेयरपर्सन एंड यहाँ पे जितने सभी लोग बैठे हैं, मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि मैं आप लोगों ने मुझे याद किया। इसके लिए इंडियन इसका को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ। और HOD एजुकेशन नागपुर यूनिवर्सिटी अभी मेरी परिचय हुई है तो अच्छा लगा। खैर कोई बात नहीं, प्रॉब्लम्स आते रहते हैं। तो आज जो मेरा विषय है वो है द कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वुमेन इन आत्मनिर्भर भारत इशूज एंड सॉल्यूशन। तो व्हाई आई टुक द टॉपिक, द मेन रीज़न इज दैट नाउ women are 50% of total population, and they are very much caregiver, next slide, caregiver, good manager, good leader, good mother, and in form of mother as a homemaker, they do lot of things, but in workplace they are unrepresented. That means that they are not getting such opportunities or respect from the society. From Atmanirbhar Bharat, we came to know that from 2020 May, our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Damodar Bhai Modi ji, he started, and from that time we are continuing to know Atmanirbhar Bharat. But my point of interest is how women can contribute. And we the 50%, and we have so much talent, but still we are very much lag behind in everywhere. I have took 5 issues, that is social issues, political issues, economical issues, games and sports, and cultural issues. In that particular, in all the 5 point, we are come to the point before one. So characteristic feature of women, we have seen that women are wheel of family, ocean of knowledge, mirror of children, address of love, navigator of lifeboat. She is a leader, a motivator, an inspiration, symbol of power, best half, and complementary of men. So we have that qualities, and we are ignored by our society. So we, society, have to know us. This is one of the important point. Next, in work arena, still we are, our workforce is very low, low literacy rate, less education, domestic violence we are facing, unpaid service provided still, and poor health. Next, what to do for betterment of women? That is, first, the education. First, we have to be educated in respect of, not literate. We are 65, nearly 65% literate, but in real sense, we cannot say literacy means education. Real education should be where women can self-reliant, can stand by on their own feet. So for that, they should have to know the right to education and freedom of choice, parity in pay scale, more opportunities in leadership roles, increasing awareness of higher education with proper care opportunities, pathway opportunities in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics too. Family community support, these are very important, and their encouragement, varied and more approaches for semi-urban and rural areas, because someone who are in urban areas, we are not facing such problems, and when we go to the semi-urban and rural areas, we came to know that how they are facing still till date in modern era. So we have to mark them, we have to know their skill and what they can do for the betterment of them and for the society. Next, please. Categories of women. So I have divided the women in 3 categories, that is well established and economically self-dependent women, that we type of women having certain skills. Next, second one is having certain skills and having certain skill establishment. Maybe they are not exploring more, but they are. And third one is the in need of proper skill set, that majority of women are there, proper skill set, training with full economical support. So the main goal of, and we know the main goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat is independent and self-reliant citizen, contribution of world economy more and more, as Modi ji has said to us. Next slide. So the 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat is economy, infrastructure, technology, demand, and vibrant demography. That means vibrant demography. We are nearly 150 lakhs of crores of people, and how we people can explore in respect of to explore the Indian economy, infrastructure, technology and demand. That Atmanirbhar Bharat is telling that we will have to come forward to make India more and more advanced. And from our ancient world, from our ancient culture, we know we were always be सोने की चिड़िया. तो सोने की चिड़िया वो जो हम थे, हम में फिर से वापस आना है. Next. So my aims and objective of my research is that, as I've told, to make Bharat Atmanirbhar in respect of economy, infrastructure, technology, demand, vibrant demography, and more involvement of women in world economy. For this highly education and self-employment of women, not employment, self-employer, self-respected, honest, trustworthy, truthful, responsible, spiritual, healthy and cultured women too. Next, research methodology. My research design, I have took, this is descriptive survey, sample size is 150 families having women and girls, employed, semi-employed, unemployed, educated, uneducated, housemaker. These are my sample size. Some women, and with it, I've taken some men who were educated and social workers from different sectors. Area of my research was Kolkata-based urban and suburban area. Tools and technique, self-made questionnaire, open-ended interview, both through offline and online mode. Data analysis, simple inferential statistics. Next. Okay, now I'm came to the different issues, what I've told before, the social issues. What now the social issues is first the education we know. I came to know that up to class 10 in urban and semi-urban area, all girls are 100% have school education, class 10. But when we are talking about class 12th, it became come to 70%, and undergraduate it became 50%, because the reason is they are not getting proper, maybe from poverty, communication, encouragement, early marriage. There are so many factors, and up to 50%, in which 60% are going to the science stream, arts stream, and 40% remaining they are going to commerce, science, medical, law, etc. other professional courses. Trade and business, share market, there is 0%. Some exceptions, of course, are there, but they are not interested, and they don't think that they can do also. Quality education in semi-urban areas, very less, very poor, and universities are not so good, colleges are not so good, with their poor infrastructure, transport and communications are very, it is playing a very negative role for women's education. And the domestic problem, as I've told, that 100% women told that there is still domestic violence they are facing, but not as before, as where previous they were. So domestic violence is still early marriage, lack of cooperation from family member, no freedom to choose life partner, gender discrimination. Here I found the difference that 20% women in urban area they are facing gender discrimination, and same 70% in semi-urban area. Next slide. Healthcare crisis, 65% women are facing health crisis. They are facing a lot of, because they are very much involved in family, so they care less for her. And along with it, other family member as a husband or other in-laws, they also give less importance to their health. Lacking of interest to break the old mindset, taboos. 50% of from less educated and uneducated, they don't want to, break the old mindset. Nearly 5% women having PG and PhD degree, they are very much reluctant to do good job or to go to give their innovativeness, innovative creativity. This is also one of the problem I have seen. Problem in workplace, as we know, that physical and mental torture, unequal wages for same work. This is everywhere, still till date. Problem in getting government job. So we know job ratio is 5 to 6% women have permanent government job, and others someone who are doing job but they are not getting well salaried. Next, economic issues. What I have seen that 70% women population are living in exploited life, that we know, and the main cause of they do 1% of their, if they give their 100% in production, in productive work, they got only 1%. And the reason is that because we have very less legal right, and income is looted by dalal, brokers, elite class, unorganized sector, husbands, in-laws, member of family, and 90% working lady manage everything in her home by single hand. The other, the present researcher categorized the lady that she got that employed and highly educated. They are enjoying their 80% of them enjoying their life as they want, but employed less educated, employed uneducated, unemployed uneducated, they cannot enjoy their salary, or they can spend according what they wish, or yeah. The next slide. Simple. Cultural issues I have seen, we know culture is play a very important roles. We know sound mind lives in a sound body. We can do the best when we become very with good mind, with cheerful mind, with fun. And for that, cultural issues play a very important role. But now in society, what I have seen, that the women who likes to do dance, drama, or they want to do it, make it as a career, they never get, 90% women told they never get any encouragement from their family or their husband. So this is also, and again I have seen that in children under 14 years come in TV life, so which is violation of constitution, promotion of terrorism, corruption, dishonesty, affair, rape, murder. These content making movies, web series, television episode making young generation forced to live in illusion, bringing problem in their bright future. This is important cultural issues. Next. So political issues, I have told that women contribution is according to GDP 60%, but in hand they get 1% due to the lack of their legal right and soft nature. Other thing, I'm not going physical fitness. There are so many Olympic, Para-Olympic, ASEAN sports and games, their poor performance we know, and they're not getting, though they are very talented, but no proper care. When they got some prize, and then they got different, what we say, care or everything. Next. Next. Yeah. How women can contribute. So I have given some point, I have asked them, I have dialogue with them, then I came to know, and going through the different source and Atmanirbhar Bharat, I have come to know that government planning and policies with proper execution and formation of self-help group, role of social worker, role of NGOs, women's scheme run by central state government. If they can come to know, and we, the educated women, if they come forward to help them, then they can do a lot of work. In my paper, I have given a lot of things there. Next, in methods of to achieve goal, so self-help group can catering, beauty parlor, crash, career, book writer, textbook writer in different way, door-to-door campaign, electronic gazette, we should know, rooftop use of how to use rooftop in different activities, education we can come to ECC, primary school, tuition, workshop, method of teaching, development, cultural program initiation, healthy entertainment program. Next. In everywhere we are seeing that women can, if what we have come to know, we need such training, motivation, help from family, society, then we women can contribute more and more, and will help to us also, then to nation. So there is limitation of my present study, sample size is very less. Yes, complete, madam, complete. Tools and technique, I should be to improvise. Area of research is small. Need of comparative study with other state, with other country, and financial assistance, of course. So reference is there, and okay. Next, thank you. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Mayaji. Thank you very much. A very enlightening talk. Okay. So let me go to the next speaker, Sujata. Is Sujata there? I suppose she's not there. Let me go to Abhay Shrivastava and Abhay Raj Singh. Are you there? Abhay Shrivastava? They were there. I don't know where they have gone now. Okay. Rashmi Tyagi? No? I think everybody was getting late, so they have left. So. Okay. So let me read out the names if they are there. Manoj Kumar and Muni Narayana Pa. No? Okay. Shraddha Sukhdev. So Shraddha Sukhdev is from Department of Humanities, Priyadarshini College of Engineering, Nagpur. You are joined by Renu Bhaskar. So the topic is effectiveness of a training module in terms of language, anxiety and vocabulary for class 9 students. Please go on.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Chair, Co-Chair, esteemed delegates, and all the aspiring minds. My name is Shraddha Sukhdeve. My introduction has already been given. Thank you, ma'am. I will be taking 11 minutes of your precious time. So thank you so much for your kind listening in advance. The topic of the research is effectiveness of a training module in terms of language anxiety and vocabulary for class 9 students. The key elements that I would like to highlight over here is I would be measuring language anxiety and vocabulary expansion with respect to high school students. The researchers, of course, I am, and the co-researcher with me is Dr. Renu V. Bayaskar over here. The inspiration behind this particular research was, I was working as an intern at B.Ed, under my B.Ed education. I was working as an intern in one of the high schools around here in Nagpur. And I was teaching to 8th, 9th, 10th students, 10th standard students belonging to semi-English medium. And there I've observed that students are experiencing a lot of hesitation, fear, and which leads to anxiety, and which acts as a great hindrance for them to acquire and master English as a language. And that was the beginning of the research. And yes, all of us know with the introduction part that English is an important language. It's considered as a lingua franca. And in spite of the fact that our new education policy is advocating vernacular languages, still we cannot deny the fact that English is an important element for which determines the growth of an individual. Next slide, please. Well, objective of our research, first of all, was to identify to what degree the students were facing language anxiety, English language anxiety. Second objective was to develop training program for them. So it was an experiment that we performed, and we tried to come up with a training program that could be implemented on control and experimental group so that a proper analysis could be made. Number 3, to compare the means of pre and post test of experimental group with respect to English language anxiety and vocabulary level. So pre-test, post-test, of course. And fourth, to compare the means of post-test of control and experimental group. So there was a comparative analysis of pre-test, post-test of the experimental group, experimental and control group. Next slide, please. Well, we had 4 hypotheses, H 1.1, 1.2, 2.1 and 2.2. So first hypothesis dealt with stated that there would be no significant difference, and followed by all the 4 hypotheses, we dealt with the null hypothesis here. So we tried to advocate that there would be no significant difference between the post test of control and experimental groups. There would be no significant difference between the means of pre and post test of experimental group, and followed by, so it is written over here. Next slide, please. Variables that we considered here, the independent variables were the lecture method and the instructional material that we provided, and of course English songs and short films. So we try to incorporate technology in creating a free and ease environment for the students. And dependent variable, of course, level of English vocabulary and English language anxiety. Next slide, please. So over here what we did was we all the 9th standard students of one particular school, semi-English medium school, of course, we gave them a questionnaire. The questionnaire was a standardized one. It is called as Foreign Language Classroom Anxiety Scale, developed by Horwitz and Horwitz in the year 1986. We gave this questionnaire to the students, and once the result was out, all the students experiencing more than 50% of the anxiety, English language anxiety, were taken into consideration, so that there is an equivalence of the same sample that we were working on. And it breaks my heart to say you that it wasn't difficult for us to get more than 50% anxiety level experiencing students there, because majority of them experienced it. Next slide, please. A research tool, of course, FLCS, that is Foreign Language Classroom Anxiety Scale, was one research tool that we implemented. It is a 33-point Likert, 33 questions, 5-point Likert scale, ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And one self-designed vocabulary test, criterion reference vocabulary test, was also implemented. Our research design, of course, was an experimental one with post-test and pre-test and post-test involved in it. Next slide, please. Yes, now with respect to the results indicate that when we compare the post-test of control and experimental group with respect to vocabulary level of the student, the control group, the difference between the control and experimental group was of 1.53, and it indicated that experimental group had more productivity or more display of good hold on English vocabulary. On the other hand, when we try to understand the English language anxiety level of the students, when the experimental group was when the training program was implemented on the experimental group, the short films and the music assisted instruction helped them in overcoming it. It provided them with an environment that made them feel like, yeah, it is absolutely fine. This English language is as good, as nice, as happy as our mother tongue, and therefore there was a decrease in the anxiety level with respect to 22.47 points. So next slide, please. One more slide. Yeah. So well, towards the end, I would like to say that everything in the universe has got positive and negative side to it, the rise and the fall side to it. Our research, it also had certain limitations to it. What the limitations were that our research was restricted to Maharashtra State Board Standard 9th semi-English medium students. So it did not move ahead from that. It could not determine the difference between the impact of the training module on boys and girls separately, because it was a co-education institution, therefore could not determine the separate the difference between them. It was restricted, of course, to MS board students and could not differentiate between the rural and urban side. However, I could say that this particular school was a school is of Nagpur, so broadly we can consider it as an urban institution, but still I would not go into the detailing of it. Anyways, next slide please. And then towards the end, let me tell you the educational implication of this particular research. First is a better English language teaching module could be adopted. So this particular training program that we incorporated and implemented amongst the students stated that the traditional mode or the lecture method, traditional version of teaching English is not more that effective in bringing about that ease environment of the students, which leads to development of fear and anxiety among them, and thus hampering their growth of a successful career. However, our particular research, this was an attempt to prove that a slight change, a small change in the teaching methodology could bring about a good and a positive change in their minds at an emotional and a psychological level. Second, ESL learners' cognitive engagement will increase, has been increased while acquiring English language by introducing music assisted instruction. So over here the instruction strategy, we try to make an appeal through our research that instructional methodologies, strategies, techniques has got no limitations here. It's us, our teachers, it depends on us, all the teachers, as to how we use our creativity, specifically music assisted or technologically assisted instruction that would bring about a positive environment. The strictness and fear of English language has been reduced amongst the students. So if this particular model is implemented at whatever level, so our research states that it would be beneficial in reducing their stress. Yeah, next slide, please. And there are these further studies avenues that I would like to just lay it over here so that we could work on it. First of all, we could also incorporate applicability of music assisted instruction could be extended to learning other subjects. Yes, so if we bring about, there are a lot of students who've got fear of math. I am one of them. So probably if music is involved in it, or some sort of animation or videos are involved in it, probably students who are facing, who are anxious about other subjects, they could be, that could also be targeted. Other boards and languages it could be extended to. Variables such as age, gender, socio-economic status, and parents' economic background also could be taken into consideration in the further studies parameter. There are n number of things that we could incorporate in this particular language anxiety parameter, and I would really happy if we join hands and we could implement a music assisted instruction training environment around us. Next slide, please. So towards the end, I would like to say that, Honorable Chair, our attempt, this particular research is very close to our heart, and we did not want to beat around the bush. We just wanted to target at the grassroots level. You're working at the apex, yes. We are here from one woman to another woman. We are here to support you at the grassroots level. So our research is the evidence of it. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you, Shraddha. Very effective presentation. And a lot depends upon the teacher, the technology they use. So teaching pedagogy is something which is really important. So thank you very much. So after this is Mihir Chandra and RSP Singh there. No? So then that brings us to the end of this session. So thank you very much. The only one thing which I would like to say is it's important to learn English. But then, say around 2 years back, I mean, we mostly used to give our lectures in English. But 2 years back, I read a poem by Peetam Singh Peetam. So I'll just recite the 2 lines, and after which I started giving my lectures in Hindi, and I realized that when we speak in Hindi, means our mother tongue, we speak heart to heart. So the connect is much better. So those 2 lines were, तुम स्वतंत्र कहते हो खुद को, बोलो किस परिभाषा में. हमारे दिल्ली में बहुत बच्चों को आज़ादी चाहिए, आज़ादी आज़ादी आज़ादी. So तुम स्वतंत्र कहते हो खुद को, बोलो किस परिभाषा में, हस्ताक्षर भी करते हो एक विदेशी भाषा में. So when I read this, I really felt that yes, we most of us, 95% of us are signing in English. तो कम से कम अपने साइन तो अपनी भाषा में करने चाहिए. I mean, we say कि हम हिंदुस्तानी हैं. So that is why जो ये national education policy में आया है कि especially the school education should be in mother tongue, and as far as possible higher education should be in mother tongue. The reason is it is felt that when you speak in mother, because what is happening is like all of us also know when we speak to each other, we speak in Hindi or maybe Marathi. But as soon as the mic comes in our hand, we start speaking in English because English looks like an official language. So if we are more comfortable in English, then we should be speaking to each other also in English. No, but we are not. We are speaking in Hindi or Marathi. So therefore, mother tongue is important, and that is why, I mean, this was realized by the national education policy. And if we teach in mother tongue, of course, AICT has brought out many engineering books in mother tongue. So let us see, because so many years, 70 years we have been teaching in English. So switching to mother tongue, I don't know how easy it will be. And then people are talking about international viability, but then if you talk of international viability, talk of Japan, who is teaching in Japanese, and China, which is teaching in Mandarin, Russia, which is teaching in Russian. All of them also have international viability. They are also going out. So let us see if we succeed. I think mother tongue would be a better medium of instruction. But having gone through 70 years, how successful we will be, that we have to see. So let's hope for the best. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the audience. You were a beautiful audience, patient audience. Thank you.
Before we proceed further, I request Honorable Chairperson Madam to please felicitate Maya Gupta Madam for her invited speech, and Dr. Shraddha Sukhadevi. Thank you so much, madam. So with this, we have come to an end of symposium on education technology, technology and its inclusive role in redefining education in the changing world, and invited lectures in education. I thank Dr. Pankaj Mittal madam for chairing this symposium and invited lectures in this education session of Section 3 Anthropology and Behavioral Sciences, including Archeology, Psychology, Education and Military Sciences of 108th Indian Science Congress being held at Rashtrasant Tukadoji Maharaj Nagpur University. I also thank Dr. Renu Bayaskar madam for co-chairing the sessions, and I thank reporters who were invisible till now. They were sitting in the front, and they are Ahibam Singh and Jeena. Thank you so much. I request Dr. Rajeshri madam, Rajeshri Vaishnav madam, to please felicitate Dr. Pankaj Mittal madam. And I request Dr. Payal Thavare madam to please welcome Dr. Renu Bayaskar. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
एक सेकंड. हेलो मैडम प्लीज. ठीक है.
जो हाइटेड है ना वो पीछे चले जाएंगे. मैम आप भी चले जाइए. तभी भी हाइट हो जाएंगे. स्टेज पे खड़े हो जाएंगे तो हाइट आ जाएंगे. थोड़ा सा की
मैम को भी लंबे
आणि स्नेहल तू फोटो काढायची नंतर.
काय नाही तुम्ही घ्या.
ठीक.
दादा थोडा मोबाईल मागे घेऊन द्या तुमचा.
मला जाऊ दे मागे.
वेट. लुक हियर. वेट. वेट वैसी.
अरे वहाँ
वेट 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 रुकिए रुकिए.
अच्छा मोबाईल वर निकाल.
हाय ना शेअर करून दे.
चलो आओ पीछे आओ. चलो जल्दी. पूरा हो गया.
आप सही पर ताई तुम्ही पण सर.
मैडम के साथ मित्तल मैडम के साथ वो तो बड़ी बात है.
रुकिए सभी.
थोड़ा मागे हो अंकित.
वेट वैसे रुकिए.
अरे एक जन शेयर कर लेंगे ना.
सर वो उसमें लीजिए.
आप ही को शेयर कर. थैंक यू सो मच. अपन को मैडम शेयर करेंगे.
सबका प्रेजेंटेशन भी अच्छा था.
कोण कोणाकोणाचे घेऊन घ्या म्हणा.
काहीतरी विचार. सायबर क्राईमच्या संदर्भात पायल मॅडमला काहीतरी विचारायचं होतं ना. विचार. त्यांनी 1-2 प्रश्न काढून ठेवलेले आहेत. पायल
पूरा क्लोज हो गया ना.
डन है का.
हाँ डन है.
पैकअप.
Oh, sure.